Hello and welcome back to some more Planet Coaster. We are continuing off from last episode, even though I seem to have basically misplaced a recording somewhere, or the file was lost somehow, and so we are actually a little bit into the episode from the starting point. Kind of apologize for that, but there's not much I can do if it turns out I only captured about 46 minutes. Not minutes, seconds. 46 seconds of like a 2-hour thing. So here we are. We are this episode finishing up pretty much everything around the central square here. And what we're going to do is we're going to be building a restaurant over here in this corner, which is going to be a pretty simple, just a U-shaped building with a nice little facade on the front, some little wings out to the side, and then decking and seating everywhere else. And then finishing up these new buildings across the entryway and over towards the theater that we built last episode. So this process was pretty fun. It's a pretty simple building. Some more homes, restaurant, fairly straightforward. Plenty of little pillars. This restaurant, though, I'm making 2 bathrooms in here, just because we only have one anyway, so why not put some more. Here I was trying to figure out why I couldn't put the food stall into the train a little bit there, and I couldn't get it to work, so I ended up skipping it. Had to put the food and drink pretty much opposite of each other inside the structure, and then work some pathing around. I did want to try and square off the pathing, but everything I tried didn't really look right, so I decided to leave it like that. It's just this nice little offshoot from the sidewalk there around, and we'll put a little fountain at some point in that area to just make it look a little bit more nice than normal here. Here is the deck, and we're doing some trim around it. This is, of course, where a bunch of tables and chairs will be going. And by chairs, of course, I mean water barrels, because we don't actually have chairs. And I like having this outside area with that covered section as well. I don't put any tables and chairs in there, as I felt like it was probably tight for room anyways, so I decided to leave that just a walkway for now. But if you guys want, I can put tables and chairs along maybe the wall or something and just have additional seating. The decent amount of tables get added anyways, so I don't know if I want to add many more. There's even another little deck attached to the Roman homes that we're going to be building as well, so that's an additional little seating area a little bit farther away from everyone else. So the nice thing about this is we will be using the doors again to make a wooden roof on the kind of wings here eventually. And then we'll be lining that with, the molding along the seams and getting that looking all nice and clean. The main center structure, though, that'll remain a tiled roof with a pretty standard facade at this point. It seems like we're at a point in the theme that everything, in my opinion, is starting to look a little samey. So that's something that I'm kind of wanting to fix for myself eventually, but I don't know if there's really much I can do about it. I mean, Roman structures are what they are. I can't really, unless I play around with the theme a little bit more and try and just have some fun with it, I can't really do much else with it, at least in my opinion. You guys can give suggestions as always, though, and I'll be happy to take those. Here's our little fountain. Didn't really know what to use for the centerpiece here. Ended up with just a normal base with some sort of just, these are from the pirate theme sets, so if I put a column in the middle of it, my thinking was maybe it'll look a little bit more as if it fits. Putting some greenery around it as if, it's been off for a little while, so it's a little overgrown, and maybe has some mold and things. We'll end up getting rid of that barrel up there eventually, because I don't quite like the way that turned out. And I wanted to mess with some other objects to potentially replace that for like a better top piece, but there's really nothing I can use in that instance, so I decided to leave it for now and just go continue work on the building. You guys have seen me do molding 1,000 times, and you are not done yet. It's just something that we're going to have to do a lot. But hopefully, when we get to building the temple and the Library of Alexandria, those are going to be what I'm hoping to be drastically different structures. I mean, the temple itself, I mean, that's going to be a little bit more fantasy than normal. It's going to have some like multiple pillars around each section. I believe you guys wanted to maybe see like 4 pillars holding up a section of roof rather than just one pillar spaced out. So I think that'll be a pretty cool thing to see, and plus it'll make it just look even more grand. Another thing is, I'm making this restaurant kind of small in terms of height, and that's for a couple reasons. The first reason is, 1, it's quicker to build. 2, from the entryway when you're first walking into the park, there's going to be an inkling that you want to look left and right, of course. You know, kind of choose the direction you want to go. And so if I looked right and saw the restaurant and it was this tall structure, it would actually be blocking where that temple is planned to be. And so I'm actually making it low so that we have a nice sight line to something interesting off in the distance to potentially lure people into the roller coaster area that we're going to be building back there, which is actually what we're going to work on next episode. And I'm super excited to actually build a proper ride here soon, and I'm sure you guys are a little excited at least to get a roller coaster, and I'm sure I'm going to get plenty of critiques because I am terrible at building roller coasters, but hey, I need to learn at some point. I can build boxes with pointy roofs all day, but a roller coaster that looks and functions really well, a little harder for me. I haven't really been on a roller coaster since I think I was like 12 years old, and so it's been quite some time. Adding some decorative pillars on the front of this just to bulk up the main kind of facade here and to make it look a little bit more proper. And we're going to be using copy and paste for these sections, which is nice. Always speeds up the build process, and I always encourage people, I guess from now on, really mess with copy and paste and what you can do with it. I could have actually done a lot more with it than what I'm doing here. I kind of regret not doing more with it. I could have actually put this whole structure all the way around the building and then copied it over, but I didn't. So I ended up having to do some manual things here. Best thing, again, when you're doing the copy and paste stuff is making sure that what you're using fits within a grid, because when you copy something, it's going to align itself to the grid, whether it was an object off the grid or not. So that's something to keep in mind. So eventually, once we finish up this building, I'm not going to actually record the houses and stuff, because I do want some things to be a little bit of a surprise and some things to come together, I think, a little bit more instantaneous, so you guys can kind of see a big chunk of change and then hopefully be impressed or, you know, like me better. I guess that's kind of what we're all after here on YouTube. You know, please like me. And, you know, maybe you'll, you know, like that aspect. If you guys want to see just all the build and not skipping stuff, you can let me know that as well. But I enjoy kind of the sudden surprise of a lot of progress at once. Here, you know, more copy and paste. It really helps with this molding kind of stuff, as it is already kind of aligned to the grid fairly well, and so copy and paste here worked in our favor. So another thing that I do want to point out, though, I don't know if we'll get a shot of that soon or not, but there's like a shrubbery stuck in one of the wings up there, and that is actually non-removable, and that's going to create a little bit of a problem for us, because as I copy and paste stuff over to the other side, little bits of the build is actually going to stick out from the building. As you can see, we have a piece of floor there. I can't remove those, and I think there's a glitch where, since I can't remove that shrubbery and those objects are inside the shrubbery, I can't even click on the objects in there to do anything with it. I tried reloading the game. I've tried deleting the shrubbery. I've tried many things. I should have just did a simple undo as soon as I saw it happening, but I didn't. So therefore, now I am stuck with some building kind of sticking out. I end up covering that up though with a bunch of bushes and trees, so you can't really tell that it's there. And so I'm not overly concerned about it, but it is a bug that I did want to let you guys know of. So this, in case you guys didn't know, this is how I did the corners pretty much on the bathhouse. And so you have these exposed tile corners, and they're really annoying to deal with. And using these doors, you can only get so far on them. And what you saw me doing there is messing with this wooden plank with a skeleton on it. And if you go into the bathhouse and look into the corners, you can basically find all my skeletons that I keep in my closet, because they're hanging from the ceiling, and there are like 10 of them in each corner, and it just looks really funny on the inside. Here, just adding some details around the food dispensaries. And then, of course, we need to put some more molding on this side of the building. We're going to use molding almost like a pillar, in a sense, to wrap it around the building rather than just having that guaranteed flat edge. I think that's a nice way in certain areas to try and get a pillar without building one. I'm sure people were doing that in Alpha 1 before we had proper, I guess you could say, pillar support. And, you know, it turned out really well. So here, that's a simple facade. Everything at this point is going to be rather simple looking and straightforward. Nothing overly fancy, at least in my opinion. And it's just simple, clean lines throughout the build at this point to try and keep it, I guess, easy on the eyes. I don't want it to be too busy. If it's too busy, then I'm sure your eyes will get tired after looking at it all. Here you can see that I'm having trouble with this window, and copying and pasting. Basically, with that area, I can't really do much. That shrubbery is really inhibiting everything that I can do. The back area of the restaurant is actually going to be left plain after this episode, as I don't quite know what I'm going to do back there, as I've yet to build the temple. And then once we have the temple, I can kind of connect that and work on the in-betweens. But until I have that full area kind of measured out and laid out, I don't want to go in and add a whole bunch of detail just to remove it. It would be kind of a big waste of precious time. And as you know, I do spend a decent amount on this stuff. I mean, today alone, I think when I got home from work, yeah, we're over 6 hours of playing Planet Coaster today. So that was quite a treat to come home and play a really awesome game. And if you guys are excited for this, I hope you guys get to enjoy it once it's fully out with the management system and everything. Alpha 3, I think, is going to be a great boom for people probably pre-ordering and maybe getting the Alpha edition for themselves, because that simulation might actually be in there. Now we have a floating window, by the way, out by the shrubbery, and a floating piece of molding. So, hey, not much I can do about that. Yeah, we're pretty much just winding down, plopping in some doors, some windows on the interior just to make the whole thing coherent. Working on this little bit of decking over here. And then at this point, I'm pretty satisfied with the whole area in general. And so we're going to go ahead and cut to some nice panning shots of everything done. And I'll see you guys after that. And hopefully you enjoy that. Alright, so here is everything in real time. You guys get to see how this, I guess, little row of Roman homes, kind of apartment complex, almost looking structure turned out. And I really like it. I think it looks nice with these planters kind of halfway up the building, just a touch of this floral element, which is a nice break from just everything else. Didn't really do that anywhere else on that structure, as you know, we do have some other areas with that element. Over here we have, I think, a pretty cool jut with a balcony up top, plenty of little layers and decks, even overhangs of the building itself. And the simple repeating pattern of the windows, I think, turned out well. It's very realistic as to what you would probably have seen. Simple plaster walls, stone frame, and then windows every so often. You know, it's not overly detailed, but it's detailed enough to at least keep it interesting, I think. And then, of course, we have this little alleyway for the people to get back there to the back of the amphitheater. And we have this upper section with these metal bars holding up a lot of the facade. I do like throwing in those elements, and I think that's kind of an important thing to have. You can't really notice that from the ride down here, which is good. You can just barely see the top of that building, so your immersion is not being broken quite yet from that. Little courtyard, plenty of little flowers, some nice stone pathing, and things like that through there. I think that turned out really nice. Ended up modifying the entryway into the park, and you can actually do this. I can show you guys. If you're pre-editing a building and then clicking on the park entrance, you can actually delete it if you wanted to. I could delete all of this stuff, and I mean, the pathing out here I wouldn't be able to delete, and the shrubbery and stuff like that, but the structure itself I could, and then merge the path together and make my own ticket booth. So that's something I'm sure you guys maybe have already figured out by now or looked it up how to do so. It's something I learned while building this section here, because I needed to trim this roofline back, and I just kind of stumbled across that. I was able to edit it after selecting another building already. I do like kind of the thin facade over the entryway. It looks a little bit more proper and less modern, kind of juxtapositioned into the park. We have our additional seating over here for our wonderful guests. Let me get out of build mode so we have some menus gone. And just this little standalone building over here. Pretty plain, simple kind of stuff. This, of course, is our nice little restaurant that you guys watch the speed build of. Additional Milky Milk has arrived, drinking milk, and so we no longer have a shortage of drinking milk. Plenty of places to get your drinking milk fix. So I think it turned out really well as I clipped through a building. And really, now that that area is kind of finished, it looks kind of like a proper courtyard square area that has its boundaries kind of set. So next episode, we will be working up here, getting a Roman temple built and some type of roller coaster to go with it, and then filling in some of the loose ends on that side of the park, followed by the next episode would be the Library of Alexandria, which actually might be a multiple part thing, as I have kind of big plans for that. So, if you guys enjoyed the episode, if you guys enjoyed the build, feel free to let me know down below. Leave a like so I know you guys enjoy this series. And go ahead and subscribe. Check out my other videos. You guys know what to do. And I'll see you all next time in some more Planet Coaster.